Hello, everyone. We're back as Father and Galaxy, and this episode we'll be doing a overall wrap up of Andor.
Yeah, we know the season ended, but we can't stop talking about Andor.
Come on,
All
it's
right.
so great.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do was we revisited the season. We watched
Bruh.
all 12 episodes. And we just wanted to just talk about some things now that we've seen everything, from a different perspective. Was there anything that we missed? Things that, certain moments that we want to talk about, enhance a little bit more, talk about the structure, setups and payoffs. So this is why we're here. So we're going to talk about Andor season 1, our recap. I'm Kerwin. This is Keith. We're Father Son Galaxy. All right. So if I had the opportunity to ask Tony Gilroy, well, why did he decide to create these blocks of 3 storylines? Yeah, 3-episode storylines, right? What I do know is in screenwriting, they have something that's called a 3-act structure, right?
Yep. Setup, confrontation, resolution.
Right.
Marvel's done this a lot because usually the 3rd act is that huge fight at the end. And then the first 2 are just like building up to the tension.
Yeah.
The second is the rising action. And then we get that 3rd act battle at the end.
Yeah. Most films, especially films like that are Marvel comic books or Star Wars related, they set up that type of, setup, middle, beginning, middle, and ending, right? So there's the resolution at the end. So I'm wondering if the 3 blocks, the 3-episode block is episode 1 being the setup, episode 2 being the confrontation, episode 3 being the resolution. So just want to go through and just talk about the blocks and then the other episodes that were not 3 episodes or maybe 1 or 2. So let's go ahead and start. So the first 3 episodes, all right, were written by Tony Gilroy, directed by Toby Haynes. Mm-hmm. All right, the setup, right? Something had to happen. There had to be something that took place to set everything in motion.
And that act is, Cassian taking down 2 Pre-Mor guards.
Yes.
And that is what put Cyril on his trail. So he decides to start working on his alibi with Brasso, but eventually we find out Cassian's in debt, and he decides to sell some stolen Imperial equipment to a buyer. And we also find out he's been in the fight since he was 6 years old.
Right, and that was important, right? Because in Rogue One, he mentioned that he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old. So it's very important for the writer to include that as part of his backstory. Like, okay, well, what does that mean? What did he do when he was 6 years old? So that's all part of the setup, right? And like you said, Andor is in this place where you never expect anyone to be in a Star Wars film or TV, and he's looking for his sister.
Yep.
He doesn't find her, but he finds trouble with 2 of these corporate officers, and they're just on him for
these people. These people are
harassing him
bullying
for no
this
particular
man.
reason.
They're like, identification, please. Yeah. And Cassian's like, okay, no, thank you. Pow! And end scene.
Right, but they kept coming at him. You know what I mean? They wouldn't let him go. I mean, he walks out of the place. And, they're just badgering him. And then, finally...
They just won't leave him alone. And Cassian had enough. And he decided he was going to end this one way or another.
And, unfortunately, we...
End scene.
Yes, right. And the 2 of them. Yeah. So that's it. That's what sets everything in motion, in action. So he's running away. He heads back to his home planet of Ferrix, right? And like you said, he meets with his friend Brasso. Now... as far as characterization, how do you know he's a friend? Well, he comes up to someone and works on an alibi. So somebody, you only do that with someone you could trust.
Your partner in crime, basically.
Exactly.
See, you don't go up to talk about alibis with just anybody.
Right.
You don't go to some random person and say, hey, let's look at our alibis. So you gonna get reported, my friend.
Exactly.
Somebody's going to turn you in and get that cash reward.
Right. Someone who doesn't know you. But it was a very cool scene because, like I said, that they have a history, because when Cassian provided an alibi, Brasso said, well, I'll give you one even better. He came up with his own alibi, and they agreed on something in between. but that was a good introduction to a
Yeah.
character that we were going to see a little bit later. Well, quite a few times throughout the series. Yeah. And then, as far as Ferrex, did you want to say something else?
No.
Okay. As far as Ferrex, the importance of community, right? So we saw not just Brasso, but we saw other.
Bix.
Yes, Bix Colleen has a relationship. They've known each other for a very long time, since they were children.
B2 and Marvel.
Yeah, B2 Emo and Marva. We meet Marva, who is his adopted mother, basically. Right? And we don't know the story about that, but that's part of the backstory. We'll find out exactly how.
And their droid B2.
Exactly. And then, there's a shopkeeper. There's Salmon.
Salmon?
Yes, forgot his last name.
Zanwan.
No. Yes, he was the one that had the recording in the back of his establishment. Salmon Pack, right. And then Salmon Pack. Yeah, right.
Salmon.
Okay, Salmon. Okay, thanks for correcting.
You're talking about fish. Wow. That was dinner. That's not a character. That was my dinner.
That's his first name. It's spelled the same way.
There's no O, it's an A.
Okay. All right. So then
you're off by a mile.
Yeah, I'm off by a mile. Okay. Mr. Pack, all right, is another character there. So, we get to know a little bit of the people of Ferrex, and we know that they're important because we spend time with them, right?
Yeah.
To get to know who they are. All right. And then, so that's episode 1 to me is a setup. And then let's talk about Cyril.
So Cyril comes in and he's like, well, this dude just took out 2 Premor employees and now I'm after it. He's in charge. He's got the power. He's got a squad behind him and they're heading to Ferrex.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Luther's on Ferrex. He's going under the alias of the Buyer, or Axis as the Imperials call him. And he's looking for Cassian so he can buy that, what's it called? Like a Star Path, yes.
Mm-hmm.
A Star Path unit. And he's looking to buy it from Cassian. So that's why he's there. Or at least that's his cover for why he's there.
Right. And this is all part of the confrontation, right? This is what's happening in episode 2. Now, the problem is with Cyril, what he's doing wrong is he's putting this team together without any approval from his superiors.
Yeah, because he assumed everything was going to go well.
Right.
But in the 3rd act, we find out he was incredibly wrong and that man failed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I felt so bad for Cyril, though. Like, the look on his face, and I was like, that is the look of demotion.
Yeah.
That is the look of a man who's lost his status.
Yeah, right. And then that leads us to episode 3, which is the resolution. All right. Now, the resolution is that, okay, well, what's going to happen? So, again, Cyril is going rogue. He doesn't have any type of...
no approval for the higher-ups.
No approval from the
Blevin
higher-ups.
said nothing to him about this.
Right. He's trying to show off his leadership capabilities, but he doesn't quite have that.
Failing.
Yes. So he and his team lands on... Well, they find out who Andor is.
So they have to identify him first. And then... they arrive on Ferrex.
Exactly.
Confrontation begins.
That's right.
And there's that awesome fight in the warehouse with all the chains falling.
Right.
And then eventually Luthen and Cassian get a speeder and they speed across, but they're smart enough to set up a decoy with explosives inside. And then when the stormtrooper shoots, not stormtrooper, I'm so used to calling these people stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
When one of those troopers shoots it, it blows up and just goes flying. And Cyril's like, yes. And he's like, this is the face of a man who's expecting a promotion. This is the face of a man who's getting a demotion.
That's exactly
because
right.
All of a sudden, Cassian and Luthen speed by, and they're like, haha, you missed. And they just speed off, and Cyril is left in the dust.
That's right.
Poor man.
That's right. So, right. And then that's how Cassian and Luthen escape. So Luthen, like you said earlier,
that was the escape.
Was the buyer, right? In quotation marks.
Axis.
But what he was actually doing is trying to recruit Andor because he knew so much about Cassian. And
a little too much.
Right. So he studied Cassian. He felt that, okay, I need someone like you on my team. Don't you want to get back at these people for real? Yes. Meaning the Empire. Don't you want to fight these people, you know?
We all do.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what happens. So he's not really there for the stolen equipment. He's there for Andor.
He wants to fight Cassian. He
Right.
wants to recruit Cassian to his cause.
Right. And then as for another resolution, the storyline that was also taking place is we find out Marver's connection to Cassian. So she finds Cassian, right? He's on his home planet. You know, a majority of his people, the native people, have been wiped out. He is there. He is on one of the ships, one of the Imperial ships that crash landed, and he's angry and he's, you know, breaking up the equipment inside.
Quite upset.
Yeah, the equipment inside the ship.
Then again, he was a child, and I think one of his friends just got shot.
So. Right. And then Marver and Clem, her husband, came in and they found Cassian.
Yes, it was legalized child abductment when you think about it. Because, I mean, he had a home, but his friends kind of abandoned him. And, you know, technically it was legal for Marver to pick him up and adopt him. And otherwise we wouldn't have the Cassian we have today. But, you know.
I look at it as Marver saving his life because had she left him there,
those remaining people would have got him. I don't know what species they were, but
he may.
I'll tell you what species they were. Dead. That's species.
So then that's it. So I guess that's how you know, Tony Gilroy, the showrunner, the writer, set up these 3 episodes to have a beginning, middle, and end. So that's the first block of 3 episodes. Episodes 1 through 3. So let's go into the next 3 episodes, 4, 5, and 6. These next 3 episodes are written by Dan Gilroy, Tony's brother, directed by Susanna White.
And we finally meet the Aldani cast.
Yes, a new cast of characters, which is interesting. Yeah. Okay. Right. So then,
by the way, guys, you have any questions or comments, let us know. Type Q+ before your questions if you have any. You know, don't be afraid to interact during our episodes.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right. So, you know, what I wanted to say about meeting a new cast of characters in episode 4. Now, this is what's nice about having a television series, right? Where you can spread out, you know,
we get a lot more time
storylines, right? Yeah. You have 12 episodes. You have time to really explore new characters and get their backstory. You couldn't do this in a 2-hour movie.
3 episodes of Andor is basically a movie.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you take the actual length of each episode, that is movie length right there.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And plus the actual content, those are 4 movies there.
So it feels like a brand new story, right? So it's just Cassian.
It's like a second movie. It's like a sequel.
With a new cast of characters. So we have Vel and Cinta. And then what's also nice is we find out just by a few lines of dialogue who these people are, you know, as they were described by Skeen. Now, Skeen is one of the Aldani people. We know that he lost his brother.
Sadly, the Imperials got to him.
Right. Then we have Vel and Cinta, who he described as stone cold and fearless, which that should have told us right there that if we were thinking, you know, when we got to episode 6, as you know, when this heist took place, we were like, who was going to survive?
Oh, you know, we'll maybe lose 1 or 2 people. Yeah. Gorn's probably gonna go, and guess who we lost? Gorn and Terriman and Nemec.
Yeah.
And Ski.
But not Cinta.
Or Vel.
Or Vel, right? But you know,
or Clem.
Given that
Cassian.
Given that description of her being stone cold and fearless, it gives you an impression that okay, well, she's a survivor, that she's gonna make it out, which she does. So
yeah, I thought Nemec was gonna survive, but
yeah.
Now I hate crates.
Well, I hear what you're saying, right? But now that we've seen the entire series, there's a reason why Nemec had to be sacrificed
for the manifesto.
For the manifesto, exactly.
I don't see why Nemec couldn't have just given Cassie the manifesto.
Well, why would he give him the manifesto for no particular reason? You know, if
as a farewell gift or something.
I see.
He could have been like, Cassian, we're good friends. I'm sad you're leaving. Take my manifesto.
I see.
There we go.
And then
Happy ending.
But that's interesting. I mean, it didn't seem to me that that was the plan of Nemec giving the manifesto to Andor. I don't think he ever said that when he was alive. It was Vel who, well, when he knew that he probably wasn't going to make it, when he was badly injured. And, maybe at the last few seconds, he must have said to Val, like he knew that, he may not make it. He said to Val, give this to Andor. Right. Give it to Andor. Right. But I don't think if, had he not been in that situation where he felt that, he was going to lose his life, that he was going to give it away. I think he was going to keep it.
He was probably going to keep that manifesto.
Right. Continue writing that manifesto.
Still.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Okay. And then, as far as the other characters, we know about Taraman. He was a former stormtrooper, which is very interesting. And that he was responsible, or he or his group of stormtroopers were responsible for wiping out Cinta's family. So
I know.
Yeah, how about that?
That's why they're at odds.
Right, exactly.
She doesn't know, does she? Or does she know?
Well, I'm sure she knows, that it was a group of stormtroopers. So I think Cinta, I don't know this for sure, but I expect that Cinta understands what happened, why it happened, but she wants to get back at the Empire, right? And it's not about revenge on stormtroopers per se, but it's about revenge on the Empire, right? So if she was willing to work with this former stormtrooper, then she was all for that. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That was her goal.
Right. And then we also had Lieutenant Gorn, who was their inside person there. Now, we talked about the manifesto, right? And basically, that is a setup because that manifesto is going to come back and it's going to pay off.
Yeah, because I kind of forgot about it because it wasn't really brought up until the last episode, which we'll bring up later.
Right, exactly. So the mission, all right. So what is the setup here? These people are brought together to infiltrate an Imperial garrison to steal their payroll. Okay,
yeah.
So
I thought by payroll they meant like the actual payroll, like the list of people who get paid, so they know who they are and where they live and whatnot. But they meant the actual money,
it's cash.
Because credits,
Jinx. Yes.
Because in that case, they should have just said we're going to the Imperials to steal credits, not we're stealing the payroll. The payload, sure, but not the payroll.
It is a payload. And then one other thing, as far as
they hit dirt.
The advantage again of having a series that you can spend more time on characters, you also spend more time on the other side, the Imperial side. You're looking into the lives of some of these Imperial officers. You're in a series where actually these officers are given a name. Like most of these officers, well, you only know them by Captain this or Admiral that or Commander that or whatever by title.
They're like Admiral Awesome.
Yes.
You have failed for the last time. Wait, that was terrible. You have failed for the last time.
Right.
Dun, 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 dun,
That's
dun.
right.
What was the other dude's name?
There was Captain Piet.
Admiral Piet.
Well, Admiral Piet took
over now.
for Ozzel.
You
and then Captain Nita, when he
another force choke.
Right, yes. He lost track of the Falcon and he had to go and explain it to Darth Vader, and Darth Vader says apology accepted, Captain Nita. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to be evil. You force choke the people that work for you.
Right. You're apologizing by taking their lives. So
wait. You're
accepting their apology.
When you choke them out and you say apology accepted, run.
Yes, there you go.
Like if you work for these people and you see your buddy down in Hall 2 getting choked out by Vader, just run. Take the escape pod and get out.
Go in the other direction, right?
I don't know, join the rebels, because Leia doesn't go force choking people when they mess up.
Yeah, good thing. All right, so we're talking about the humanity of the Empire. So one in particular named J-Hold, right?
Yes, I remember him because he had the family.
Yes, he had the little boy, which, he was not very nice to, but the little boy apparently 12 years old, he's a sickly child. And, he says, well, he's always sick. And, he's, and then, he's not very nice to his family.
Or his wife.
But at least we get
nice
to see
his child or wife.
Yeah, but Yeah.
problematic in its own sense.
Yeah.
Treat your family right, please.
Yeah. Right. And then well, at least you get to see his family, right? So basically the confrontation is trying for these for this group of characters, Valencinta and everyone else, to get inside this imperial facility and steal the credits, which they do. But now,
Successfully.
right, and then the resolution has to be is okay, well, how are they going? Are they going to escape? And if so, how? And they do that as well with the help of J Hole, who didn't hang around for too long because he was actually overexerted himself, and there you go. And
He
like you
went,
said, and because this is a robbery, and it does involve risk.
Yeah, Lieutenant Gore. Let's talk about Lieutenant Gore for a second. Why did he stand there just looking up like posing for animal crackers, just waiting for them to drop from the sky, and instead a blaster bolt drops from the sky.
Yeah, and then he was taken down real quick.
And nobody cared. See, at least somebody cared about Terramin, but they're like, oh, where's Gordon?
Mhm.
Doesn't matter. We didn't like him. Get the credit.
All right. So then, okay. So the mission is successful, relatively. We did lose some lives along the way. Nemec, again, knew he was, near death, and he offered his manifesto to Cassian. So Cassian takes the manifesto and then takes his share of the credits, and then he leaves.
He's out.
Right, because the job is done. We also get introduced to an ISB supervisor, Dedra Miro.
Yeah, Dedra.
Wonderfully played by Denise Go. It was just, it's so funny that when we first met her, we were rooting for her because, she had
Blevin trying to take her down.
Yeah, right. That's true. Right. So she had competition, and,
we don't like Blevin on this channel.
Well, no, that's not true. Well, I'm not saying that.
Well, you like him?
Well, no.
You think he's a good person?
Well, no, but he works for the Empire.
Do you think he's a good person?
Do we think anybody who works for the Empire is a good person? No, but I like the politics. I like, that
Vader was a good person. Okay. When he turned to his good side.
All right, let's stay on this. So Blevin and Dedra, Blevin has been around a little bit longer than Dedra. Dedra apparently is new to the game. She's only been there for 1 year, so she seems to be
ambitious.
Ambitious, yes, a very good word. She seems to be very ambitious, and he doesn't like that. So there was a line that I remember he said to her,
steady ladder before you climb up.
That's the one. That's exactly it. Steady ladder before you climb up. And so they were going at each other, and
these people were doing the dozens every time they saw each other in the hallway.
Right, exactly. But so Dedra, eventually wins out. She becomes in favor to Pendergast. Partagast, right? I always call him Pendergast.
Why'd you always call him Teddy Pendergast?
I don't know, because Teddy Pendergast, that last name is in my head. But yes, so that person is, he likes Dedra. So
Partagast.
Exactly, Partagast. So he is a big fan of Dedra. All right, and then we also get to see Mon Mothma, in this these episodes, right? The return of Mon Mothma. We also see Luthen. He's actually
Luthen, Mon Mothma, Dedra.
More than meets the eye, so apparently he has a disguise.
He just got this gaudy outfit.
Right.
Luthen looked at his closet and just thought, how many rings and bracelets do I have?
Yeah.
And how many of them can I put on before my fingers look like displays?
Yes. So he's he's in character. The scene that I liked is when he's getting dressed and he looks at himself in the mirror. You can see him trying to get himself into character, like
he puts the wig on.
Yes, right. So and then he's ready. He puts the wig on and the clothes, and he's ready to go.
The wig.
Yeah. Oh, and here's one thing that I did not really pay attention to until I realized, okay, well, there's a reason for this. So it was like, again, a setup and payoff. The mentioning of Mon Mothma's driver,
Chloris.
They kept repeating this man's name so many times, you know.
Yeah, and Mon knew from the start that this man was an ISB implant.
Yeah, and so did Luthen and Clea,
Yeah,
because
they
when
all knew.
yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
I did.
Well, but
Like, you know how sometimes you pick up on something, but it doesn't really sink in. Like, you hear it, but you're not paying attention to it.
that's me. That was me, because you know when she
Huh?
pulled up in her car and got out, you know, they're looking at the, you know, at the front door, you know, it's glass. And Clea says to Luthen, "Oh, a new driver." I didn't really pay much attention to, you know, whether it was a new driver or an old driver.
I didn't care
I
because I'd
picked up
never
on that.
seen her driver before.
I didn't pick up on that. And then, like I said, they kept repeating the name. Like Perrin was making fun of the man's name because he could never remember the driver's name. But what's his name again? Oh, is it Kelly Cloris? You know, Martha kept you know, correcting him. But now we know that we'll know down the line as to why this
He's
character
an
is
ISB.
important. Right, exactly. All right.
And
then
Cyril.
yeah, he gets fired.
Cyril gets fired.
And
He lost
moves
his
back
job.
in with his
Blevin
mom.
demoted the man. He lost his job. He got kicked out.
Yeah.
And he's moving back home with his mother.
Oh boy.
Oh, what's this I hear? Theme music. It's the latest hit sitcom, Cyril and his mom.
I want a sitcom. I want a comic book. Whatever you could give me with Cyril and his mother, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, so that's the block. That's the second block.
Cyril, your collar is too high.
Oh, we can do this all day. Yeah.
We could.
Right. So that's episode 4 through 6. All right. Now, episode 7 was actually just a standalone episode, but to me, it was a prelude to the next 3 episodes coming up. Right. So what happens in 7? Like the biggest event that happens in 7 is that the Empire.
Revenge.
All right. So after the robbery in Aldani, you know, was successful, and it was 80 million credits that were stolen.
Yeah.
The Empire is very upset, and they take revenge, right? So what they start doing is increasing people's taxes. You know, anybody who's in,
they put taxes. They're lengthening sentences.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So it's part of this. It's part of this initiative that the the Emperor passed called PORD. I don't know what it stands for.
Right.
But it's in there.
Yes. Right. So yes, you're correct. So there's this order that came down from the Emperor himself. And, you know, any current prisoners or new prisoners, you know, that are
everybody's
incarcerated,
getting their sentence like tripled.
Yeah. Double.
Like,
basically,
double, basically, they decided, hey, nobody's getting out now. Exactly. Nobody's getting out. There's one way out.
Well, okay, we're jumping ahead. All right, so let me just finish up episode 7. So after the what are you doing? After the
Sharpie cat.
Okay, you can get it. After the robbery, Andor heads back to Ferrix, and he wants to get his mom, Marva, to leave Ferrix and go with him and go someplace else, right? Just get away.
They want to get out, find a place to stay.
Well, he wants her to leave because
settle down, you know, just be a happy mother and son, unlike Cyril.
Go someplace warm. You know, she's getting older, and you know, she's in this, you know, place where it's, you know, it's cold. You know, the heat's not working like it should.
And she's in constant danger because the Imperials are there.
And then Marva, you know, says outright that okay, well, I'm not leaving because I want to be here. You know, because I want to stay with the rebellion. And, you know, Cassia's looking at her. Well, what are you talking about? What rebellion? And, you know, so he tries to talk her into it, and she says no, she's not going. She can't go. He can't stay. So he ends up leaving, and he heads to Niamos.
Yeah, Niamos.
Right, Niamos. Right. It's a, you know, Miami Beach sort of town. You know, resort. You know, it's hot. You know, it's sand, and you know, people are vacationing. And then, you know, of all places, you know, this would be the last place you think you get in trouble. He gets arrested for doing.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Because like he's just having a good time, and then all of a sudden there's some weird people who are just running around. I think they must have been some sort of rebels, and they end up causing trouble, and Cassian all of a sudden gets hooked in up there.
Yes. So he gets arrested, and that moves us into the next block of 3 episodes 8, 9 and 10.
By the way, PORD stands for Public Order Resentencing Directive.
There you go. Right, exactly. And he caused it, and he was also a part of the directive.
Yep.
All right. So the next 3 episodes, 8, 9, and 10, are written by Bo Williman, directed by Toby Haynes. So now Andor is taken to Narkina 5, right? And
he's put in jail.
Yes, he's serving his sentence. And then we get to see a familiar face. Andy Serkis plays a character named Kino Loy.
Finally, he's out of that CGI costume. We got to see his face for once.
Exactly.
Because even as Snoke, he had few lines, and Snoke was ended very quickly.
It did. He did. Yes, true.
Whereas at least Kino made it out somehow, I think. I hope. Star Wars, if you're listening, please keep Kino alive. We need this. We need this man.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that, right? All right, so he plays the foreman or supervisor in charge of the floor.
Yeah.
And then once again, we meet a cast of new characters.
Yes,
and
except one of them wasn't so new. Was in fact familiar, Melshi.
Exactly.
We'll talk about him more later.
Well, if you've seen Rogue One, you would know.
And that later is now.
The name. Well, let's see. Because it's a part of this block, right? 8, 9, and 10, right? So we'll get to talk more about Melshi. All right. So once again, we have these new characters, and the writer takes the time to introduce each person, to give them a name, right? Because they are very important to the story. It's not just some random actor, an extra who doesn't have any lines. He's that they're just there as a prop. These are characters that are very important. All right, so we have that. So basically, the setup is they're in jail, they're in prison, right? They're making these parts. We have no idea what these parts are for. Right. Okay. And then what's the confrontation? Confrontation is that we find out that the Empire made a mistake. Well, the people in charge of security made a mistake. So apparently they allowed a prisoner to be released, right?
Yep. Right before PORD was released.
Right. And then when that dropped, they had to backtrack and tell that person, okay, well, you can't go. So they try to hide the fact that they let this person who used to work on level 4, right?
Was it in level 2 and then he ended up on 4
okay.
the next day?
So he was on level 2, he was released, then brought back because of the directive and put on a different level just so people wouldn't notice that this person left one level and came back on another. But
eventually word got out.
Right, word got out. And people were wondering, well, what is going on? Why did he come back? And then there was a rumor. People started talking, and you started hearing people saying that there's, no one is getting out.
On 2
that no one is getting out. And then there's this riot that happens, and about 100.
And so he was back on 2 the next day.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everyone was like, something's wrong on 2. Something's really wrong on 2. And
right.
whatnot.
And then these prisoners, like 100 men, were just wiped out from
the floor went hot.
Just to keep them quiet. So then word got back to the other.
They could have just bribed him and said, hey, you know what? We'll give you some money if you shut up.
Never thought of that. Okay.
As soon as I said that, you just went utterly silent. I'm like, did he think I was serious?
Well, no. No, I was just thinking that, okay, well, could that happen? No, it couldn't. Anyway.
No, but the Empire's got some money.
Right.
Actually, no, they don't. They just had 80 million robbed from them.
Right. Well, so not only that, so that's the confrontation, that this is happening. This is taking place on another floor. Now, what's happening, what's impacting Andor directly is one of his teammates, Olaf. He's an older gentleman. He is starting to deteriorate, and
sadly.
He's fading fast. His hands, he's an older gentleman. Like I said, his hands don't work, and he's not able to.
He's having trouble working the machine.
Yeah, he's not able to keep up. And then apparently he has a stroke.
And sadly passes away.
Right, yes. And then, the doctor who came to, to take care of him.
Did absolutely nothing.
Really, basically said there's nothing that he can do for this person, and it puts the man to sleep. And then here's the rumor, it's Kino and Cassian are asking what actually happened, what really happened on that level.
Yeah, what happened on 2? And,
Right.
and
And he
he's like,
explained what
they
happened.
fried 100 men to keep him quiet.
And no one's getting out. Right. Okay. All right.
No
and
one's getting
right. And then what was so cool is throughout the episode, when the episode was called episode 9 was Nobody's Listening.
And episode 8 was announcement.
Yeah. Cassian kept asking Kino, since Kino's been here for so long, okay, look, we got to figure out a plan. We got to try to, see what we can do. We got to get out. How many guards are on each floor? And Kino would not tell him until the very end, when they realized that there's probably no way for them to get out of prison. And he finally asked the question and says, well, how many guards are on the floor? And then
he's
Kino
like,
said,
never more than 2 or 12.
Never more than 12. So that ends the episode. Now the resolution, right? The resolution is, all right, one way out, right?
Yep. Speaking of one way out, Q&A. Wikipedia,
hey.
Hello.
All right.
We were waiting for a chat message to pop up, and it finally came. Hello. Look, one way out.
Yes, exactly, right. You came in
and new pinned comment.
Okay, you came in at just the right time. All right, so now the resolution is, okay, they have to have a plan. Kino finally realizes that no one is getting out. We got to put our heads together and figure out how we're going to get out of here. So there's a plan, which worked. It wasn't pretty, but the idea was, we didn't talk about we've talked about the floors when we were reviewing the episodes,
hot floors and the cold floors.
Yes.
They're like Cheeto flavors.
Right.
Basically, it's on and off.
Right, exactly. So we know that the floors were electrified, and the idea was that they had to turn off these floors so that they can, move around and run around and do whatever they need to do to get out of prison, right? So that was the first thing they had to figure out. So Cassian destroyed one of the water pipes, had the water all over the floor,
and basically that short circuited the floor. So when they tried to make it hot floor and take them out,
they couldn't.
They failed.
Exactly.
And this one man just sat there clueless and turned into a 12-piece.
Well, I think it caught a few of them off guard. When Kino
had an ample 10 seconds to get on a table before the floors got fried. And then it was 12 pieces for all.
Well, when Kino said, get on the table, I think some of the guys were like, get where?
Dad, imagine that. Get on the tables. What tables?
Okay. Well, this is not nice. We're laughing at these people. Anyway.
They were slow.
Right. Okay.
What can I say?
So here we go. This is the part. By the way, I said this before. My favorite episode of the season. This was fantastic. This is Emmy award-winning speech, or Emmy nominated at least, from Andy Serkis, and he's talking to the guys, and he's trying to root them on, and he's telling them the floors are cold. Help your fellow man to get out. Do whatever you need to do. It's one way out, right? One way out. Yeah. And they're running. And by the way, so we have a contact at Disney, right?
We do?
Yes.
Just kidding.
Who gave us a copy of an early draft? Oh, let's do okay.
Yeah. So before, let's actually give you guys an excerpt of the early draft of One Way Out.
Right.
A little clip from it.
So again, we're setting this up, right? So we have a contact.
This is right when they are about to reach it. So we have a Disney contact who gave us this early unreleased script. We're the only people who have it so far.
Well, it's an early draft, right? So of course, screenplays go through several drafts. So this never made it. They rewrote it, but they were very nice enough to share this scene with us, because this is actually the scene when Kino Lloyd gives that speech, right after he gives the speech, and the guys are running to escape. Would you the prison.
I will read for the role of Kino Lloyd.
Okay, all right.
And so you will read for the role of prisoners and prisoner 2, and I'll do prisoner.
Yeah, I'll do all the prisoners, and you do Kino.
I'll do Kino and prisoner 1.
Okay. All right, so here we go. So I'll start off. So this is the screenplay, episode 10. The prisoners are very close to freedom. The voices echo as they run through the tunnel.
One way out. One way out. One way out.
They see a light at the end of the tunnel.
One way out. One way out. One way. Whoa. Oh, hold on.
Well, it's the end of the line. The men look over the edge down to the deep, deep blue ocean.
I can't swim.
Kino Loy.
Yes. Me neither.
Yeah, I'm not jumping. The prisoners all agree. They look at each other. They agree. They start to panic.
No worries, guys. Look, we'll find another way. Let's turn around. Two ways out. Two ways out. Two ways out. Two ways out.
End scene.
And now, Q&A. Who we have first? I'm sorry. Even our producers chuckle.
Okay.
Behind the scenes.
I guess we should explain before we start Q&A that obviously
that was a joke.
That's all made up. Okay.
My dad decided he wanted to be funny and made this script. If you laughed, that's good. If you didn't, too bad.
Right. This is not true. We made this up. So the point is, people are wondering, did Kino make it out?
Can we indulge Q&A now?
There 5,000 men were actually trying to escape at the same time, right?
How do all of these people know how to swim?
You can't tell me that.
You can't tell me 4,999 men know how to swim.
And Kino's the only one who cannot. He's not the only one. I'm sure there are some guys
there had to be like at least a handful
who decided, okay, well, even if I can swim,
I'm not jumping from there.
Exactly. I'm going in the other direction. And I'm sure that's what they did. So Kino is fine. Hopefully we'll see him again in season 2. All right.
All right, now we'll announce comments.
Q&A.
Mom.
Yes.
Pull up the comments.
Wikipedia says
Pull up the comments.
Just in time for the exclusive content. Thank you again, Wikipedia, for being here. Do we have any Q&A?
It takes a while.
Okay. All right. That's fine. All right. Oh, Star Wars Geek Girl. I am speechless because I was watching. Okay. Thank you. Is this Mike? Thanks, Mike. Thank you for joining us. All right. Yeah. So that was the block of episodes 8 and 10. Okay. All right. So now that just leaves 2 more episodes. Okay.
Wait.
Okay. What do we want to do?
Just
We need Wikipedia says we need a video game style alternate ending. How about that? Okay.
Jake Vogel. Hi. Hello. Remember me from 2021 summer camp? Hi.
Oh, okay. All right. We know Jake. Jake, thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
Keith, Jake from camp.
Yeah.
Loved Andor. My favorite piece of Star Wars since Revenge of the Sith.
Ooh,
I know.
I know.
Your favorite movie is Revenge.
All right, Revenge of the Sith. All right.
By the way, to clarify, I saw A New Hope in concert. Not Revenge of the Sith. I saw A New Hope. The original Star Wars.
Billy Davis, thank you for joining us. Hello to you. All right. Jake from State Farm. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So then that now leaves 2 more episodes. Okay.
Jake from
State Farm. All right. Thanks. We'll get
like a good neighbor. State Farm is there.
All right.
Please do not copyright us.
Okay. Let's go into episode 10. I'm sorry, episode 11 and 12, the last 2 episodes. Okay. All right. So these
we're the most
2
jokey
episodes,
podcasters ever.
That's fine. Yeah. The last 2 episodes are written by Tony Gilroy, directed by Benjamin Caron.
Yep.
So basically the setup is that Marva is, unfortunately, we said to, back in the early episodes that she was not doing very well, and she eventually lost her life. All right.
Sadly. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Marva was getting old.
Of course. How can I not remember one of my favorite campers? I miss our Star Wars convos. I'm sure.
Well, now I'm at the middle school, so.
Yeah, I'm sure those are some very good conversations. Yeah.
I'm no longer an elementary schooler.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're growing up here. All right. So so Marva is gone. All right.
Sadly.
Yeah. So at this point, Cassian and Melshi, escaped.
They've split up, by the way.
Well, yes. When we the start of episode 11, they're still running for their lives, right? They're trying to find a ship, right, to take off world.
Yep, and they finally find one.
Yes, right. They found a
quad jumper,
right?
And they get off.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and they head back to Niamos.
Right.
Cassian gets his stuff. Melchi gets a
Mhm.
new wardrobe and stuff.
Right.
You know, they got to get out of that prison guard.
Yes, exactly. And they're back on the beach.
Yeah.
Right. And then this is when Cassian makes the call back to Ferrex because he had a message to give to his mother. You know, he
Mhm.
wanted his mother to know that he's doing fine.
And sadly, you know,
And
his
you know
mother will
that
never
you
get to
know
hear
she
those
would
words.
she would be very proud of him, you know, if she knew what he was doing or what he did. And the shopkeeper, you mentioned his name earlier,
Zanwan.
right, who kept saying Cass's name, like, don't use any names.
Cass,
Right,
stop using my name.
But he eventually told Cass what happened to his mom, and Cassian
is
took
just,
it. Yeah, he
oh,
you
poor
know,
Cassian.
yeah, a little dazed, or he wasn't expecting that
Heartbreaking.
kind of news. So, and then Melshi and Cassian decided they were going to split up because they wanted people to know about what happened.
Yeah, Melchi had to get the word out. Cassian had to head back to Ferrex.
Exactly.
And here we are, set up perfectly for the finale.
Right. Okay. No. All right. So then that's one of the setups, and there are other setups involving Anto Krieger, which we did not meet, but he was
We saw a
name that
hologram of him,
right,
as well.
But it was a name that we heard mentioned
throughout the show
so often.
Yeah, because Luther was trying to get him to meet Saw as like a contact or something.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so we talked about his fate. Not to go into too much details, but yeah, so Saw and Luthen had this conversation about what they're going to do about Anton Krieger's men. They're going to be ambushed.
Yeah, Krieger's kind of toast.
Right, and we didn't talk about this in episode 10, but Luthen has a contact in the ISB,
Lonnie.
Lonnie, who knows that the Empire is going to go after Krieger's men.
And he tried to warn Luthen, and he's like, well, if they don't go, they'll know something's amiss.
Exactly, right. So Luthen could not tell Krieger anything. And, that's a part of the rebellion, the sacrifice, right?
I feel like he should have told Krieger, tell your men to be on edge because the Imperials are expecting you to come. Don't back out because you still got to go, but act wary.
I don't think that would have worked, though. I mean, if someone said to you, hey, you're going to lose your life today, you're going to like, what?
I'm not saying tell them you're going to die today. I'm saying tell them to be on guard because the ISB knows they're coming and they're going to be waiting.
I see. So defend yourself as best as you
basically can. Be like, make sure you got some extra fuel in your ships because you need to pull some evasive maneuvers.
I see. Okay.
They'll be waiting for you.
Okay. Well, that could have been an option, but Luthen played it cool, and he realized, okay, the less they know, the better. And unfortunately, Krieger and his men were
one with the spice.
Well, they were taken out. All right. Okay, and then so these are the confrontations. This is the setup. The confrontation is Cassian going back to Ferrex, even though Ferrex is one of the last places he needs to be because the Empire is all over the place.
They're spread out like cream cheese.
Yes.
These people are all over that slice of toast that is Ferrex.
There you go. Right. And Dedra is spearheading it, and she's using her torture
I'm trying to
tactics.
Think of a toast analogy.
Okay, while you do that.
Dedra is the knife that's spreading the butter.
Okay.
Or the cream cheese. Dedra is the knife that's spreading the cream cheese all across the toast that is Ferrex.
Oh my goodness. All right. So
the cream cheese is the Empire.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. So
spread thin for a crispy slice.
Yes, and she is spread thin. I mean, and she's actually she's using these fear tactics to scare the people of Ferrex. Again with Sam and Pack, with Bix.
Interrogated him.
Yes.
And you know what she did that was specifically diabolical that I want to talk about for a second?
Sure.
Remember when they were done interrogating Pack? And they were like, should we get this man out of here?
Yes.
And Dedra says, no, I want Bix to see what happened to him so she knows what happened. That was so cold. To say, I'm going to put a man we already tortured in front of a person we're about to torture so they know we're not playing around. That is the coldest move since Vader's Force choke.
Yes, I agree with you. And as soon as she walked in, as soon as they bring her in, she's
Get a
like, "Oh, well,
blanket
get him
over
out
him,
of
and
here!
he's
Get him
like,
out
"Get
of here!
this man out of here! Why is
she
he
here?"
still here? Come on!"
Because you planned it that way. So that was very yes,
acting
it was very mean, but you're right. It was very
cold as ice.
It was effective. It was very effective. All right. Okay, and now let's get to the resolution. Episode 12. All right, the season finale is all about Ferrex.
Yes.
Okay, and everyone is there. We got Cyril. We got Luthen. We got Vel and Cinta. Everyone's there, and everyone is looking for, and the Empire, obviously, and everyone's looking for Cassian. No one could find him except the people of Ferrex. But it was well done. It was a great, the funeral scene with the music and
I
the
really enjoyed the
it was
music.
absolutely wonderful, a wonderful send off, and then to have that. As we talked about the voices that Cassian heard throughout that episode, the voices of his father.
Yes, and Nemec as well.
Right, and Nemec reading the manifesto, the payoff of the manifesto in the earlier episodes, right? And, Cassian is just hearing, their voices, and he's reading the manifesto, and he's just getting this encouragement to keep going and to climb and to try. It was well done, and then
they're getting ready. This is the amping part. This is when we're just about to see Cassian, getting ready. By the way, Dedra really is cold as ice.
Oh my! Oh, we got props now. Okay.
Yes,
all right.
we do.
Right. Okay. All right. So for people who are not watching us, right?
That's just too bad.
Drop the block of ice in a cold glass of water.
Cold
all
as
right. Well, there you go.
ice.
Please don't spill it on the equipment. Okay. All right. Very good.
Too late. We need new microphones now.
All right. Okay. So let's finish up 12. All right.
And then we're going to get to our Q&A.
We're going to get to our Q&A. All right. So episode 12. So let me just talk about my favorite part of the episode is when Brasso is back, right?
Yes.
Remember that friendship that we saw in the first episode? It comes back in spades in the last episode because Brasso has a message to tell Cassian about his mother. There's some things that Marva wanted Cassian to know. Things about him. I wish I wrote these quotes down, but there's just so many great ones. But in particular, he was just the spark.
It was just a spark to the fire. It was already burning.
Exactly.
Tell him he knows everything he needs to know and feels everything he needs to feel. And when those two come together, he'll be something great. Wonderful. Something to that effect.
That was beautiful. And then the last part is
clap for me. Clap.
No, because the last part is tell him that I love him more than anything he can ever do wrong. Oh man, it's that was just absolutely just heartwarming, because that's a mother's love,
Yeah, it was so nice.
Yeah, we talked about that. All right. You don't know anything about what I'm saying.
Excuse me.
Well, no, you don't get it because it's coming from a parent, she loves her son, right? No matter what he's done. Whether he's done things right or if he's done things wrong, she just wants him to know it doesn't matter. I love you bigger than anything that you've ever done.
I know.
Yes. So that's it. It means that means a lot to me, right? And
I have felt that way about people.
Okay, well that's wonderful. That's good to know. And then again, the last we hear of Marva is through this hologram, and there she is. She's just like the head of a rebellion army, and she's giving them the speech
and she says,
to motivate them,
fight the Empire. We've been sleeping.
Sleeping.
We have to rise up because
they are
the Empire's terrible. They're diseased. They're spreading across Ferrex.
Right.
Fight them. They're the mold on that slice of toast. Fight them.
Yes, right. And then then it just breaks out, and Ferrex goes after the Empire. Dedra is even running for her life.
Awesome fight,
right?
And Dedra gets saved by Cyril, and she's like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yes,
Cyril.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I don't know what's going to happen to those two characters. I don't know
whether to strike you across the face or to run.
But while all this is happening, it gives Cassian enough time to find Bix and to save her and get her on a ship.
And then he gets Bix, he gets Brasso, he gets B2.
Exactly.
And he gets Jezzy from the Daughters of Ferrix.
Correct.
Rounds
and she's
them all
a pilot, apparently.
Yeah. And he rounds them all up, and they are ready to go.
Right. But he doesn't
Everybody
go with
the B name is gone.
Yeah. But he doesn't join them.
But the next letter gets kicked off, right? B and C. A, B, C. Everybody with the B name in the show was on that ship, but everyone with the C name was not.
Okay.
The
all
only
right.
person with the C name was Cassian, but still.
And Cassian had a plan. That Cassian knew that Luthen was there looking for him. So he found Luthen himself on Luthen's ship. And he confronts Rael and says to him, okay, well, if you're here to kill me, then go ahead.
You can bring me in warm, or you can bring me in cold.
Right. So if you want to,
And then the Mandalorian showed up. I'm just kidding.
There you go. And then thereby Cassian unofficially maybe joining Luthen along to form this rebellion.
Maybe a mentorship.
I think we're going to see that, right? So that is the season. So that's the recap.
All right, let's get to Q&A
of season 1. Yeah, let's get to let's please get to the Q&As. And then and by the way, let's while we're getting our Q&As together, Wisdom the Wise, howdy, love you too. Thank you so much, Wisdom. All right, wonderful. All right. If there are any others. So while we're waiting for others, just want to try to get an idea of, just talk a little bit about season 2. Wikipedia, that would be stuck in your head all night. You're welcome. Thank you.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It will be.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Like it's stuck in my head right now. Yes. Season 2. Let's talk about season 2. So from what I understand about season 2.
More Q&A.
All right. There we go. Keith.
Keith, I wish I had more students like you keeping you. Thank you.
All right, Mike. Thank you so much for that. Season 2. All right. So it begins 4 years before Rogue One. All right. So the first 3 episodes. So again, blocks of 3. First 3 episodes is going to be.
Yeah, we still have Q&A.
Okay. All right. We can come back. I just want to say this real quick. All right. The first 3 episodes.
All right.
Is going to take place in year 2. The next 3 episodes takes place in year 3. Next 3 in year 4. And then the next 3 episodes for year 5.
So expect longer episodes then, because we'll probably have longer episodes as there's less time. Because I was expecting 5 seasons, 1 for each year, but then it got cut to 3, and now it's cut down to 2. Wow.
Yeah.
See, I hope. See, my thing is real quick, and then we'll get to the rest of the Q&A. I don't know about that, because I feel like I don't want to have a rushed sense in each episode. Yeah. Like they just got to get the information out really quick so that we can move on to the next story arc. So I hope they keep it slow and steady like they did in season 1, but with a little more fast pace. All right.
Well, you mean like just, play out.
Yeah, let it play out.
Right. Yeah. Introduce new characters if need be. Bring back some old characters. I got you. All right. Yep. Q&A.
Yep.
All right.
Give us a second to get it up.
Oh, by the way, we didn't talk about
what's so funny?
We didn't talk about the post-credit scene.
You're killing me.
Okay, all right. Did you guys see something that looked like a lightsaber when Luthen visited Saul? It looked like he gave one up to 2 twos when they searched him. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, like that stick or something.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it might have been a hidden lightsaber, because if you remember the Clone Wars, the Jedi Terrorist Newbie actually had a lightsaber hidden inside his cane. So I wouldn't be surprised. Luthen kind of gives off Jedi vibes, like one of those Jedi who was around during Order 66 and survived.
So,
but I don't know.
It would not surprise you if Luthen turned out to be Force sensitive, is what you're saying?
No, but not.
So if he really, okay, because, my theory is, we're talking about Luthen. I think he at some point worked for the Empire. Like he was an Imperial officer.
Yeah.
Because I feel that
could be both.
That's exactly why he's like one step ahead of them all the time.
It could have been both. Like he was a Jedi, and then when the Imperials came over, he decided to switch to their side, and then decided to go back to the Rebel side. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to Luthen than that we don't know. And then the other point is that the Empire still has no idea who Axis is, right? They don't know Axis is Luthen.
Nope.
Right. So could you imagine once they find out if Luthen is someone who used to work for the Empire, how angry the Emperor
The
would be.
Imperials, I'm just imagining the scene. Partagas would just call Dedra and Lonnie and everybody
Yeah.
else in and be like, "We got a traitor,
Ex-
and we will relentlessly hunt this man
Yeah.
until he either surrenders himself or we surrender him."
Exactly. Yeah, that would be very interesting. Okay, any others? All right, I saw a question about the rebels.
Do you guys think we'll
mhm.
see any of the Rebels crew in the next season of Andor? I think I'll do a rewatch before then, just in case.
What do you
I'd
think?
say yes, because if you remember, Hera's name was dropped in Rogue One. So I think maybe we might see Hera, maybe Rex at some point. Ahsoka, possibly? I don't know.
That is I like that Hera idea
Because by this time, Rebels has already wrapped up. Because it's already wrapped up by now.
You mean the storyline, the Rebel storyline?
Yeah, like the show by now has already wrapped up. Like the timeline, as far as I mean, each episode is a year, and I think it started. I gotta look up when it started. What year does Star Wars Rebels take place?
But I want to say I like what you're saying about Hera being there because
5 to 1 BBY. Okay,
right.
So it starts. It starts at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
It starts when Andor starts and ends a year before Andor ends.
Okay, all right.
Because 0 BBY is like right up to the Battle of Yavin.
Exactly, right. I like what you're saying about Hera because I believe, I'm not sure, that we may see Hera appear in the Ahsoka series next year.
Yeah,
right.
That's the expectation, at least.
Right. So that would make sense. So if you have this, Hera appearing in Ahsoka many years later, she can actually appear in Andor in season 2. I like that.
And that'd be her first live action appearance because we've heard her name drop. We just haven't seen her in live action.
Yeah, not yet. Right. Jake, thank you very much for attending. Thank you. Have a good night. All right. Love the stream tonight. Thank you so much.
Oh my
Jake.
God. I just realized we've been on for an hour.
Yeah, well, this was a wrap up. So, all right. So
this is our longest stream. It's 8:37.
It's okay, Keith. It's fine.
Remember, I go to bed, man. I got a presentation tomorrow.
Remember, people are going to watch this at
what do you think is going on here?
People are going to watch this at any time during the day. When you say it's 8:30, they're looking at their watch. No, it's only 3:15 in the afternoon. What are you talking about? So anyway, all right. So what I was saying that the post credit
6:02 and 6.
Okay, so the Death Star. We talked about that. So
the
again,
parts they were engineering is made for the Death Star.
Another payoff, setup and payoff. Right. So then we know. What that means. Okay.
By the way, another comment. Lol, Keith is on a roll today, and then the Mandalorian comes out.
Yes, right, exactly. All right, so
laugh out loud emoji.
Yes, okay. All right, can I say this one thing about Cyril and Dedra? Just give me a few more minutes. It's not going to take long, but I'm thinking, well, where are these two going to go? What's going to happen to them in next season? All right, so here's what I think. Dedra is going to be indebted to Cyril saving her life. So I can see her going to Partagas, and asking her boss to find a job for Cyril. He won't be working for the ISB because you can't.
That is such a power gap.
Well,
firstly, secondly,
what do you mean a power gap?
Cyril's he's good, but he's not really ISB material.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That he wouldn't be an ISB,
but he'd have some job in the Empire.
Yes, and I think that job would be he could be in charge of an Imperial ship. Like he could be
like a ship captain, like a Star Destroyer captain.
Because for some reason I can picture Cyril in
with
that
uniform.
Cap
on.
Yes, exactly.
With that ridiculous cap.
Yes, with the high collar, and he's wearing the dark uniform.
Yeah, and he'll just go back to his mother and be like, "Look, Mom, my collar is high, and I didn't have to tailor it this time." And
exactly.
She'll be like, well, it's still high. That's not changing anything.
And he gets to run his own Imperial ship. You know what I mean? So he gets to boss people around. He likes to be in a leadership position. I think this would be a perfect opportunity to see. What he can do, like under pressure.
Basically give him like Dedra said, put these people in a box and see what they do.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So we went a little long. So I, don't want to go too much into it. So,
this is our longest video to date.
Which is fine. This is absolutely fine. So I'm sure, prior to season 2, obviously, and season 2, I think it's not even coming until 2024. Uh, yeah.
What?
So we'll have time to talk about, like who we expect to see in season 2, everything else, to get prepared for season 2. We got time. All right. Let's talk about tomorrow. We're going to be back on tomorrow's live stream, right? We're going to be doing a spoiler review of Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that'll be tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we are going to talk about Star Wars 2023. What is coming up in 2023? We're going to talk about the upcoming series that's going to be taking place.
And sometime before the end of the year, we'll do our 2022 book collection.
Yes. And now that you put that out there, we definitely have to do our 2022 book collection. So we will definitely do that. Yeah.
I got you there, Dad.
Yeah. All right. So for next week, again, we're going to look ahead to 2023. But,
and then we're going to get grounded back in 2022 because 2023 ain't here yet.
That's right. That's exactly right. So we'll still have things to do for 2022 to wrap up the year. And then we'll also want to talk about Indiana Jones, right?
Yes.
That's coming out next year as well. So we'll talk about 2023 Star Wars / Lucasfilm.
And maybe we could watch Indiana Jones and do a study on it.
That's an excellent point, right? You've only seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? So we got 3 more movies left to see. All right.
Do not copyright sue us on this video. We like having monetization.
Do we have any more? Okay. All right. So I think that's it then. So this has been fun talking about Andor. Again, as I said before, it's a masterclass this entire season of great direction and writing.
This is basically
it's wonderful.
Hats off to the directors, writers, executive producers, everything.
Yes.
Perfect.
Now you were shocked when I said it. We were on the Big T Little T program, and I said that Andor is the best Star Wars I've seen since the original trilogy. And you looked at me like, what? Even better than The Mandalorian? Yes, in my opinion, it's even better than The Mandalorian. All right. So, let's see what people have to say about that. You can leave your comments, or, we can talk about it further where you think it ranks. But okay. That's how we're gonna sign off. That's all I gotta say. I'm done. All right. Keith. Is better than The Mandalorian. Yes, I said it. Better than The Mandalorian.
I got my eyes on you, buddy.
Both
Sleep
seasons.
with one eye open.
All right. Where can people find us?
I will be playing The Mandalorian through your television. Just kidding. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, Amazon Music, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check out our socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Father's Galaxy. Check out our merch store, fathersigalaxy.myspreadshop.com. Visit our website. I said that already, didn't I?
That's fine.
Yeah. Check out our Patreon page, and please donate to that as well.
Hey, thank you. And if you like our content, you like our shows, the best way that you can support us right now is
through our Patreon page.
Okay. I was going to say the shop. Like the holidays are coming.
Both of them, holidays are coming in. If you'd like a nice gift for your friend or for your family, coffee mug, portable water bottle, a nice sweatshirt for the holidays when the winter comes, it gets cold. Check out our merch store and consider us for your next holiday shopping event. Yeah,
we can use the support. Okay. So
guys,
just think about
we want to make awesome content, and we need your help to do that. So
absolutely. So just take a look. It doesn't hurt to even take a look. So we have
if you see something you like, don't click on it.
There you go. All right. So
please.
All right, so that is it, everyone. So thank you. This was a fun episode to do.
I had so much fun.
Yes, I did too. And, I just realized that we left out quite a few things, but we're good. We're good. We're not going to go back, other than say that it's better than The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. All right. Well, then, until next time, everyone, thank you once again.
Remember what I said about playing The Mandalorian through your television.
Hey, I'm ready.
We're starting with episode 1.
All right. So everyone, thank you once again. Take care. And we will see you again.